The calendar is where you're going to start writing the events that are coming up. In the calendar, there's one for every month. The monthly version of this calendar is where you want to put your upcoming events. So things like Friday meeting, or meeting with team, or vacation time should all be written in here at least a month as soon as you find out about it. So a lot of stuff could be put in right now all the way to the end of the year, since you have the district calendar, and also you have the syllabus that the syllabi that your various teachers have given you. You can put that information in here. Believe it or not, there's plenty of space in here to put all the different things you have to put in here. Any meetings, dental appointments, etc. Also should think about that as you're writing down events. Sometimes events cause other events to have to happen. So if you have a doctor's appointments, for instance, then you're going to want to put down get work 2 days before, right? So that way if you have a doctor's appointment here on the 5th, then you know that maybe the day before or a week before is get work. And that way you know that for the day you're going to be absent, you need to get the work ready a week beforehand. You have your monthly goals here. What would you write there? Well, you know you have your NWEA. You're going to have a conference for NWEA. And then for NWEA, you're going to want to sit down and say, well, maybe I have to work on my geology. Maybe I have to work on my biology. So improve so many points. Do so many problems on Study Island. Whatever your personal goals are for improving what you do, this is the kind of stuff that you want to set monthly goals on. So it'd be nice to see that when we grade your monthly or your student planner. So here's your daily planner section. And this is actually a student who's trying their best but really is not accomplishing the goals of the planner if you look at the rubric. And one of the reasons he's not is that, first of all, he's writing down here there's a lot of nones. And one would wonder, if there's so many nones that they didn't do anything for any of these classes, you'd have to wonder, is this student getting an A in every one of their classes, that they don't have to do any kind of studying or any kind of activity, for instance, practicing the vocabulary, doing their index cards, reviewing their index cards, summarizing their notes. And I know in biology that they should have every day at least 20 minutes summarizing their notes, but it's not listed here. Excuse me, they do. It says here, finish notes. But, I'd like, again, exact vocabulary. That's one real big problem with this set of notes. I want to know exactly what do you mean by finished notes? For instance, summaries, complete summaries. Write down questions. What exactly are you doing for your finish notes remark that you placed on that particular line of your calendar? You'll notice that there's a lot of stuff here that that's due. For instance, here, notebook due tomorrow. Really, that particular entry should be in the previous view, or the monthly calendar page. Any event that's upcoming, there's something due, or some test that's going to happen, or some doctor's appointment, should be in the monthly calendar, not in the day-to-day section. You need all the room you can here to put down what you're doing, all the things that you're doing, so that when we review your line items, we can have a real discussion about how to improve your study habits. And remember, we want exact words, exact verbiage. So don't use things like studied. That doesn't mean anything. What would you do for studying? For instance, reviewing index cards, outlining the chapter, summarizing notes, adding questions to notes, emailing teacher questions, etc. That's the kind of thing that you should be doing. Here somebody wrote OGT. Well, what does that mean? What did you do for OGT? Did you do Study Island? Did you do some kind of OGT packet? I'm not sure. So you have to be more exact on what you're doing and how you say it. You don't want to write down what you're doing in class, but rather what you're doing outside of class. What's going on at home? We want to know how you're spending your time so that we can help you fine-tune your study skills, help you study smarter, not harder. Now, this is a much better example of the note. Still not perfect, but much, much better. In fact, it's pretty darn near perfect. When you're looking at here, you're seeing that you have the subject area of the class. Here you have your assignment, what exactly you're working on. And notice he actually writes down, or she actually writes down exact verbs. They read pages, what have you. They did the current events, and they study. I don't like this word study. Perhaps maybe they should have wrote practice index cards or whatever they actually did for their studying. So maybe this word would lose them some points for being too general, right? Now, I grant you that there's not a lot of room here, okay, in the calendar. But if you write small enough and notice that this person pre-drew the lines, they actually spent some time and did some work ahead of time and pre-drew the lines. They do have where they started, when they finished, so we know exactly how much time they spent in each assignment, and we know what kinds of things. Now here again, study for test. What does that mean? I have a question in my mind about that. Here's study this. Another question in my mind. What do they mean by studying that? So, there's a lot of this that goes on when I read these planners. I always have a question of what exactly did you do when you studied? Study groups is good, but wouldn't it be nice to know who was in that study group? I'd like to know who was in your study group. I'd like to know what you did with the study group. Did you guys do a Google chat? Did you do a Google Doc where you added ideas with each other over the evening, or did you do that in class? If you did it in class, it shouldn't be on this, right? It should be either in your monthly view or it should be in your notebook. What it goes in here is how you're spending your time outside of class. Okay, so this is kind of the last example, just to wrap this up. You do have a finish and a start. That's good. This person has the assignment. That's wonderful. The class. I think this is the same person that I showed earlier in the previous slide. However, and they have the same problems. You're seeing generalized verbiage, so that you don't really have any specific. You're also seeing the misuse of these line items by putting current event due. You can easily put that in the monthly calendar, and it would leave you room to put what you're studying, what exactly you're doing after or outside of class. Now, again, why do we want to know that? So that we can help you fine-tune your study practices. Now, and we also know exactly how much time you're spending, because you have a beginning and an end, how much time you're spending on any particular assignment, which will also help us fine-tune that study skill, making you study smarter, not harder. But here, Saturdays, you did some work on Saturday. This person did work on Saturday, or hopefully they did. If they didn't, that's fine. Then that's a discussion we can have. If they did, then we should be able to see exactly what they did. What did they do on Saturday? Also, here you can put down your group member names, your team member names. So, and maybe some contact information like emails or telephone numbers. And those things could be at your fingertips when you need to contact your team member for help on one assignment or another. And don't forget your passes. Every time you write a pass, it should be written in your planner. Okay, so that's it. If you have any kind of specific examples, on Monday, that's Monday, February 4th, we're going to be doing this for the first time. So Mr. Gusick and I will be grading everyone's planner. We're going to be getting some feedback from you. We're going to be giving each other feedback. There'll be some synchronization of grading going on. So we shouldn't have any issues with expectations after Monday. Monday's the first attempt, so anybody scoring a 1, 2, or 3 won't be put on any list going to Mr. Weber. But after Monday, the following Monday, remember we're on Mondays, we have the study hall, and that's where we're going to be doing the grading of this planner. On the following Monday, anybody scoring a 1, 2, or 3 will be put on a list. We go into Mr. Weber. Mr. Weber wants to see you and try to figure out why you're not using the planner the way you should be using it. All right, have a great day, and I hope this made sense to you. Bye-bye.